my name's Marie Page. I'm here to teach you a yoga class suitable for complete beginners, particularly appropriate for people that have perhaps some stiffness in their bodies, perhaps they're aging, or are totally new to yoga and perhaps new to doing much sport as well. So we'll take this really slow. My classes are normally a little bit quicker than this, but we're going to do a really slow start to this so that you can fully understand what we are trying to achieve with yoga. The first thing I want to say though is that I obviously can't see you because I'm pre-recording this. This isn't a face-to-face class, this is not a Zoom class, so I can't correct your posture, I can't check whether you're doing things wrong, and obviously I've done no medical review with you, which I'd normally do with my students. So if there are any reasons why you feel you may not be suitable for yoga, that could be heart issues, blood pressure, all manner of other things, that is not an exclusive list. Do check with your doctor first, and it is your responsibility to take care of yourself when you're doing yoga. Obviously I can't be responsible for any injuries that you may sustain. I actually think yoga done well is a really safe practice, but do make sure that you're being very body aware. As a general principle, don't go to anything that causes you pain. If you feel really that you're working too hard, too tight, into a sharp pain in any posture, then come out of it. This is your practice. You can take this as easy as you'd like. The other thing I wanted to mention was just what you need. Now, I'm wearing sort of loose clothing, very stretchy leggings, because we like to sort of move the legs around a little bit. I may take this off in a bit because it's a little bit warm once we start moving. I am using a yoga mat. This is a good idea because it will stop you slipping. If you've got a carpet, maybe put a towel on it if you need to, and I would suggest that you practice in bare feet. One, it's really good to be able to feel the mat under you, gives you a lot of kind of sensation coming up through the feet, but it's also really good in meaning that you're less likely to slip. So I very much suggest that you are in bare feet. You'll see that during the class I will be using a number of props. Just to explain what these are, this is a yoga brick. You don't have to have one of these. A cushion would do. This is just a little squishy mat. You may even have one of these sorts of things that you use for gardening. You could use a blanket rolled up instead. I put that under my knees when I'm doing postures on all fours. And I'm actually sitting on a yoga brick. I think these are really useful to have. Again, if you've got a cushion, you could use that instead. The reason I'm sitting on a brick is that whilst I'm quite a practiced yogi, so I'm reasonably flexible, it really helps me make sure that my alignment is good. So what we're trying to get to here is that the knees are underneath the hips. Now for you, you may well be sitting cross-legged and you're up like this and it feels really uncomfortable. And you may also be kind of crunched forward like this. If you can raise yourself up, and I have honestly had people in classes sitting on a kind of brick tower, and that helps you to be more comfortable. It means that your knees can be a little bit lower, then that's great. Now you can see that I'm actually sitting with one foot in front of the other. This is called Sukhasana, easy pose. This is really comfortable for me. It won't be for everyone, so if you want to have your feet more conventionally crossed, you can. If you want to have them out like this, or even seated with your feet in front, perhaps open, you need to find something that works well for you. One other option is to sit in what we call hero pose, and you would need to have probably a pillow or something like that for this. Sit like this, and that may well be more comfortable for you. If you have knee issues, some of these poses may just mean that the knee is too tightly kind of close together, in which case find a position that works for you. This yoga, one of my teachers says, yoga does not discriminate, sometimes poses do. And I've thought about that a lot recently, that we kind of sit in poses like this that feel comfortable for me and they may not be comfortable for other people. So you find a pose that works for you. So I'm going to sit like this in Sukhasana. Hands can be on the knees, either down or up for this first little bit. And we're just going to think about our posture. So as we think about the posture, you may well find that your hips will start to come forward a little as you bring your shoulders up, open your collarbones up, tuck the chin in. We don't want to be sticking out like this, and we also don't want to be rounding in our shoulders. So that's the first thing to think about, a nice posture. And hopefully your shoulders are nice and relaxed and coming down. Now I talk a lot about the shoulders coming away from the ears. So let's sit like this and see how this feels. Now if you're used to hunching over a desk, this open, sort of strong seated position could feel quite uncomfortable for you. Try and go with it though, because it's good posture. So let's inhale and exhale through the nose. In yoga we talk about inhaling and exhaling through the nose. It's quite unusual for us to be exhaling through the mouth. Obviously I'm talking, so I will have my mouth open, but in a practice when I'm by myself, it's all through the nose. So we want to count in 2, 3, 4, and then out through the nose, 2, 3, 4. Now continue to do that. I'm going to close my eyes because it's good to centre in on yourself with this, so feel free to close your eyes. Continue to breathe, and I'm just going to talk about a few things. So see if you can notice your heart, how tense or calm you feel. As you're breathing in, what feelings does that kind of raise to the surface here? How tense are you perhaps feeling emotionally? And when we breathe in yoga, we are focusing particularly on the out breath. So perhaps try and make that out breath a little longer than the in breath. Keep that chin tucked in. Keep that posture good. Now I'd like you to take your hands and place them on the belly. Breathe in again and notice how the belly expands. Breathe out and notice how the belly comes in. And it's great to have that belly coming out and then let it come in again. So we're breathing deeply into the belly rather than just shallow breathing in the top of our abdominal cavity. And now take the hands to the side ribs. And again, close your eyes if need be, if you want to focus down. Inhale and notice how the ribs come out to the side. Keep those shoulders relaxed. Inhaling and focusing on a nice long exhale. Now putting one hand on the top of the chest and focus on filling the top of the chest here. And now you can have your hands wherever you would like, in whichever of those locations we've had before. And this time we're going to inhale and breathe into the chest, the side ribs and the belly, just making sure that we're completely breathing in. Letting the belly expand and then out again, letting it all go. Don't have your shoulders raising up as you inhale, keep them nice and relaxed. And then exhale it out again. One last time. Keeping your eyes closed, notice how you feel now as you inhale, as you exhale. Has that changed the way you feel mentally? Are you a little bit more relaxed? Hopefully you are. What that focus on breath does for us is it turns on the parasympathetic nervous system. So we normally are in this sort of stressed fight and flight response, but instead we turn on the parasympathetic nervous system simply by focusing on breathing for a while. And we are now in a resting state, our bodies are able to recuperate. They call it rest and digest. So the breath is extraordinarily important in yoga. There's actually 8 limbs of yoga, and those things that you think of about yoga, you know, the strange postures, the asanas. We're sitting in an asana now, a shape, a sukhasana shape. Well, that's just one limb, and one of the other limbs is pranayama, the breath. So we've covered off a little bit of asana and a little bit of pranayama today. And we're just going to spend the rest of today's practice just thinking particularly about asana, but coming back to the breath, and I will try and cue the breath for you as we go through. So let's play with this asana a little, okay? This posture, this shape. So we're sitting cross-legged. Now, I expect if you're cross-legged, you have got your favoured leg in front and your disfavoured leg for cross-legged behind. Let's switch it round. So it's just the other way. We try and have balance in yoga as well. So first of all, with your hands on your knees, and if you're sitting in a different way, just see how you can go with this to adapt it for you. We're just going to circle around. So I'm hinging here or circling here from my hips rather than from my shoulders or my neck. So if you imagine that if you imagine that my elbow joint here is my hips, I'm circling round like this. I'm not kind of static in this bit and just circling my head around. And what often happens here is that people will sort of move a lot in their shoulders and head, but not really from the bottom of the spine. So I'm really trying to circle around, just waking up the spine, and obviously there's some work going on in the pelvis here, waking some hip flexors up as well. And we'll circle the other direction. We try and do an even number in each direction. Notice how this is all feeling in other areas. Are you feeling this in your glutes perhaps? I did 2 yoga classes yesterday, so I'm feeling this a bit more in my glutes. Okay. And take your hands, and I want you to put them on the floor in front of you and just walk them forwards. I'm sorry, you probably can't see me terribly well. Let's sit a little bit further back. Walking the hands forward. So I'm keeping my sitting bones on the floor, but I'm stretching forwards. And notice how you are probably feeling a stretch in your buttocks, in your glutes here. So these muscles here, nice stretch to have. I love a good glute stretch. And we're going to just walk the hands around to one side. I don't mind which side. I'm going to try today not to get too hung up with lefts and rights because it just ends up being confusing for people. So we just go to one side. And I've got both my sitting bones on the floor. So these sitting bones, whilst they want to raise up, are actually still sat nice and low on my block or on the floor. And I've got a lovely stretch coming up the side here. Good. Walking back to the centre, let's take the opportunity to stretch forward once more. You might want to take your head down and just inch those fingers forwards. And then walking round to the other side, keeping both sitting bones on the floor. Quite low here with the head. I'm stretching out this arm. So we've done a little bit of mobilisation and a little bit of stretching just as part of our warm-up. And I do a lot of warm-ups. They're very much part of the yoga practice. And if all you do is warm-ups every day, I'm good with that. It's way better than sitting on the sofa. Right, let's come back to our nice seated position. Shoulders square, chin tucked. Yeah? Now let's roll the shoulders forwards and back. And let's think about the breath as we're doing this. Inhaling as the shoulders come up, exhaling as the shoulders come down. Inhale up, exhale down. And when I'm bringing my shoulder blades together, they're coming together at the back and then coming down towards the kind of back pockets, if I was wearing a pair of jeans. And let's roll in the other direction as well. You may hear a few clunks in the shoulders. Don't worry about that. I'm aware that some of you perhaps have had shoulder issues, so obviously again, don't go through pain with this. Do what you can. It's good to have some mobilisation if you can. Lovely. We'll come back to a couple of shoulder things in a moment. But what I want to do next is a side bend. So taking one hand down, so let's suggest that this is your left, so if you're going to look at me, it'd be like looking in a mirror. Left hand down, right hand up, inhale up, and then exhale into a side bend here. So I hope you can see that I'm in a kind of quite a straight line with my side bend. My shoulder here, the right shoulder, is above the left shoulder. I'm actually looking under my raised arm, up past the elbow to the ceiling. So I'm not coming forwards here, and I've still got both sitting bones on the floor. I'm feeling a really nice stretch here and quite a constriction on that bent side. Continue to breathe in and out through the mouth. We'll inhale back up again. Exhale that hand down. Inhale the other hand up. And exhale down into the side stretch on the other side. Again, if you like, look under that arm, moving the head nice and gently as you do so. But if it's not comfortable for you to look there, just look ahead or a slight down gaze, stretching up there. And notice whether this feels different on one side to the other. You don't need to judge that difference, you just notice it. Inhaling back up and down. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit more work on the shoulders now. So hands onto the shoulders. If you can get your elbow points together, then great. Otherwise, go as close as you can. And inhale up as we go up and down as we go out. So just some nice little circles here. Again, if you haven't got as much movement as I have, just go with what you can without going into pain. I imagine that if you've had shoulder issues, you've been given exercises over the years to be doing for those, so be mindful of what they were. Some of them may be similar to what we're doing here. Let's go in the other direction. I actually had surgery on this shoulder about 15 years ago, and I was years really before I got back to completely to normal. And some of these exercises would have been challenging at the time, but we work with our physios and get there. The physios don't do it all, we do a lot of the work. Good. Right, we're there on that. Just a little bit on our heads and necks. So again, nice seating position, but with the chin tucked. So let's see if we can get the chin right back, really sort of double chin here. And then normal, and then pull the chin back, bring it out a bit, bring the chin back, and then right forwards and back. Right forwards and back. One more time, chin forwards and back. Let's just relax a little because you're probably carrying quite a lot of tension in the spine here. So we're going to do some work moving the head. I want you to go really, really slowly, because if you go too fast, you may well get a crick in the neck and then you'll be in pain for a few days. So come back to the breath, inhale through the nose, and then we'll exhale looking over one shoulder. So say you're going over to your left shoulder, and we're going to hold that there, mindful of a nice straight back. So if I had someone with a rod behind me, it would be nice and straight. Good. Exhale back to the centre. Have an inhale here. And exhale over the other side. So you may well find that you're quite tight on the sides away from where you're looking. That's fine, that's where we're stretching. Keep breathing. Coming back to the centre. Okay, next time we are going to take the chin down to the original shoulder. So inhale, and then exhale the chin down to that shoulder. So again, a stretch in the neck, maybe a little different in place to where you had that stretch before. Inhale back to the centre. Exhale down, chin down to the other shoulder. Inhale back to the centre, nice and slowly. Alright, so now we're going to take the chin down to the chest. So inhale and exhale the chin down to the chest, and notice what's going on in your cervical spine. You may well find that that feels a little tight. This always feels quite tight for me because I've got issues with my discs in that little bit of my spine. Good to stretch it out. Good. Now, I'm keeping my chin down, but if you need to look up, you can. Take your hands in front of you, interlace the fingers and stretch forward. So you're starting to really bend your back into a bit of a C shape. So I'll come to the side so you can see what I'm doing here. So I'm stretching my hands away and my back is really into a C shape. Now turn the palms so they're away from you and raise the hands up. As we raise the head up, looking up at the palms, not too far back, got a slight back bend happening, looking up at the ceiling. Undo your hands, stretching the hands so that the palms are facing each other. Inhale and exhale the hands back down. Good. Right, how about coming off your block now? And I'd like you to just sit in what we call mermaid pose and see how this feels. So it's a kind of zigzag kind of shape. Now, this may not be terribly comfortable for you. If it's not that comfortable, you might want to just perch yourself upon one block and just see how this feels in terms of posture. And you may want to turn your body one way, just slightly. Return on the exhale. See how that little twist is going. Inhale back to the centre and twist very gently round to the other side. Inhale back to centre, taking the feet the other way, block out of the way. So mermaid posing the other side. I always kind of feel this is a bit of a weird thing to call this mermaid because whilst it looks like they're sitting on the rock, they actually can't separate their feet, can they? Anyhow, sitting up straight. And notice where you're feeling that. Perhaps you're feeling it here. Perhaps it's just not comfortable without a block. I much prefer it with a block, I have to say. I'm a bit of a prop queen. Alright, so inhale. And let's twist to one side. Nice and gently. Keeping that posture nice and tall. Exhale. Inhale again. And exhale to the sides. Keeping those shoulders relaxed. Good. Back to the centre. So we've done a number of seating postures there, and we're going to come onto all fours. So you may well want to put something under your knees. Now you can roll your mat up and then just prop the mat under your knees, or if you've got something like this, or you've got very nice strong knees and you don't need any help, then that's all good. Before we do a lot on all fours, I quite like to warm the wrists up. A lot of my students have arthritis or wrist issues, and certainly once you start doing a lot of yoga, particularly when we're working on postures like downward dog, we're putting quite a lot of strain into the wrists. So I think it's good for us to warm our wrists up. So here's some wrist warm-up exercises. I would like you to come up onto all fours and put your hands so that your fingers are together like this. So I'm going to show you this. So my fingers are going to be like this, okay, on the mat. So fingers either completely together or an inch or so apart. And then we're just going to rock from side to side. So the palms are on the floor. You may feel that the bottom bit of your palm, the sort of wrist, where the wrist reaches the palm, comes up as you're doing this. But we're going to rock from side to side. This is gently warming up the hands and wrists. But it's also providing a little bit of a stretch. Now we do this the other way, so the elbows and wrists are coming together. For some people they like to have them complete together. I quite like mine a kind of hand width apart. So I'm going to show you like this. And then we rock from side to side here. So the fingers are spread, and you'll probably be feeling this into your wrists, perhaps a little bit into the thumb joints as well. These are actually some warm-ups I've learned from the School of Calisthenics, where they work on kind of body weight related exercises. My son does calisthenics and he's taught me these because he has a wrist injury trying to teach himself handstand. Obviously you're putting a lot of weight on your hands there. So these are his go-to warm-ups. Coming forward with the hands, so a little bit further forward with the hands, fingers spread, palms down for now. We're going to come up onto the fingertips. I'm keeping my fingers quite, they're not really bent, they are taking a fair bit of weight, up and down. Up and down. Up and down. So this is more of a strength building exercise. You feel this all the way up your forearms. We'll do one more. And now we're going to take the fingers so that they're coming back towards the knees. And I'd like you to just gently sit back. So this is a static rather than a dynamic stretch. In those other stretches we were moving to stretch. With this we are holding this stretch, coming back. So it's a lovely stretch up the forearms. Particularly good if you spend a lot of time on the computer or on a mobile phone. Absolutely lovely stretch. Making sure that your shoulders are relaxed away from your ears. Oh, lovely. Right, let's come away from that and just circle these wrists nice and gently. They may be feeling a little bit like they've done some work. You may want to make star shapes. You could even bring your hands out to the sides. Just bring some blood back into those. And then the last thing we do is we circle the top of the wrist with the thumb and finger. So again, I'm going to come a little bit closer so you can see what I'm doing here. Circling the wrist, and then we're moving the hands around in that circle. You may not get your fingers all the way round your wrists. I've got quite tiny wrists, which is why, relative to the size of my fingers anyway, I can almost completely encircle them. You go one way and then the other. Quite a magical little movement this. And then we take the other hand and do the same thing. In one direction and then in the other. So they're my go-to wrist warm-up exercises. We're now going to do some more work in all fours. I'm going to just take this rather baggy top off because I think you want to be able to see a little better what I'm trying to do here. So whether you've got something under your knees or not, come into all fours. My knees are underneath my hips. My knees are hip width apart. My hands are underneath my shoulders, and they are shoulder width or hip width apart, and it's like I'm on train tracks here, okay? So my fingers are fairly well spread. So this is tabletop, or all fours position, and we're going to do a little move called cat's cow. So what we're going to do is we're going to tuck the chin in and tuck the tailbone under, as if I've got a tail coming from my tailbone, coming between my legs, come through towards my hands. So I'm making an arch with my back, like an angry cat, a cartoon cat. My chin is tucked, and then we're going to go the opposite way. So the tailbone is coming up as if I'm flipping my tail up over my head, and I'm looking up. My shoulder blades are coming back again towards the back pockets, and my belly is hanging down. So this is the cow position, and we take it to the other way to the cat position. And we move very slowly and deliberately from one to the other. Let's bring some breath into this, assuming you've got it. So we inhale as we drop the belly, and then we exhale as we tuck that tailbone under. Inhale as the belly drops, the head looks up. Exhale as the chin tucks under. So we're going from like a U shape to an N shape, or the sort of C's that are lying all the way around on the mat. So N shape to U shape. And while you're doing this, let's think as we're in this N shape, this cat shape, We're really pushing the mat away, opening the shoulder up, tucking that tailbone under, tucking the chin, and then going in the other direction. And really just getting that belly down, shoulders down, tailbone up, and getting a nice bend in the spine. So that was cat-cow, and you'll find, if you did other classes with me, I use that in lots of different postures. Coming back to a more neutral spine, so you're neither down in the cow or up in the cat, but more of a neutral spine. And what we're going to do this time is we're going to wag our tails. But we'll do not just the tail wagging. What we'll do is we'll wag the tail over to the left and we'll look as if we're trying to catch it. So we've got a kind of C shape coming in this direction here. And then we're looking over the other shoulder at that other hip. So just inhaling and exhaling as you go with this. So these are all about waking the spine up. You may again hear some clicking noises. All good, all loosening you up. Good, right. We're back into our all fours position. I'm now going to show you another very classic yoga posture called child pose. So I'd like you to open your knees a little bit wider and touch your toes together, and then sit back on your heels. Sit back, sit back, sit back. You may want to grab a block or a cushion. And the idea is that you bring your head down to a block or down to the mat. Now, classic child pose has the hands down by the feet, so this is a very, very relaxed pose. My daughter in her cot used to sleep like this. This was her kind of go-to pose for sleeping. Now, I tend to teach this as a slightly more active pose. So we take our hands, and I'd like you to bring them forwards. So palms onto the mat, fingers spread. And get that forehead down if you can, or as low as you can. And let's see how this is feeling. Whilst this is a resting pose, because I've made it into a slightly more active pose, we've also got a stretch going on. And I'd like you to pick your forehead up and really stretch those fingers forwards. Maybe letting the forehead drop again. So this is Hasta Balasana in Sanskrit, but known in English as extended child. And this is a great pose to come back to between postures, when you need a little bit of a break, when your back is feeling like, this is just not, it's a bit crunchy today, not feeling too good. Lovely, lovely stretch. This extended child is also a good alternative to downward dog if downward dog isn't working for you for whatever reason. So we're going to take a side stretch from here. So picking the palms up, so we're clawing the mat in front of us. We're just going to walk the hands around to the left. So if you were in a clock face, you previously had your hands at 12 o'clock. We're now taking them to 9 o'clock. So staying quite low here with the head. I've still got my feet kind of back towards the heels. By the way, if that is hurting you on the knees, you can always put a block between your legs here, and that may be a little bit kinder to your knees. So stretching out to that 9 o'clock. So you'll be feeling a nice big stretch down the right hand side. So we've done a little stretch when we were seated. Did this as well, but we repeat it in another asana. And we're walking back to 12 o'clock. Just stretching forward one more time, clawing the mat, and then walking around to the other side, to the right. So we're now at 3 o'clock. You may only get to 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. Doesn't matter, just go with where you get to. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Good. And picking the hands back up, stretching forwards. Lovely. Okay, let's take the hands up and come up into a kneeling position. So you've had your head down for a little while, so you may be feeling a little bit of a head rush here, so if you've got low blood pressure, so breathe and take it easy. We're going to do a little side stretch now, so we're going to literally come forward again, taking the right hand into the middle and the right knee into the middle, and the left foot comes back onto the left toe, and you can either stay like this, just stretching out the left leg, or if you feel you can, you're picking the left hand up and stretching it out in front of you. And use this back foot if you need to the right foot to balance yourself out. Stretching, stretching, stretching. And what you may want to do is circle that hand around. Inhaling as we come up and exhaling down. Inhale up and exhale down. And when we come up to the top, let's have that hand going, looking up to the ceiling, and you can look up as well if you can. Now, if you've got your balance, and only if, you can pick the back leg up. And here we have our first balance. Now, you can just keep that toe down if you prefer, and just keep the stretch. Just whatever works for you. And dropping the toe down, bringing that hand back down. And this time take the left hand down into the middle. I'm going to turn around so that I am looking at you. So left hand in the middle, left knee in the middle, and that left foot, you might want to take it out to the side, just to give yourself a little bit more stability. The right foot comes back and down, and I'm stretching out down the back of that right leg. Right hand comes up and forwards. So it's kind of dart from the fingers all the way down to that toe. Inhaling and exhaling. Nice soft face here, nice soft jaws. Think about your tongue being soft in your mouth. And circling. So inhale as we come up. Exhale as we circle down. Inhale. Exhale. And then we bring the hand up, looking up at that hand. If you've got your balance, and only if, you can pick up the back foot. It's quite an advanced little posture this, so don't worry if you haven't got it, just keep that toe down. We'll build up into these balances as classes progress. And dropping the hand down, coming back onto all fours, and just rest in child pose for a moment. Good. Okay, so sitting up again, and what I'd like you to do this time is tuck the toes under, and again we're doing a sort of balance here. It's to get us up onto our standing poses. Now, if balance is not that great for you, just find your way up. You could use a chair or the wall to help you. If you know your balance is okay, you can come back into a squat here and try and sit nice and tall in this squat. So this is a toe stand. Now, I love my balances, and I quite like trying to get my ears over my shoulders, over my hips, and the hips are then over my feet as the sort of optimum alignment here. And you can have the hands in Namaste, in prayer, or Anjali Mudra. So we're trying not to lean forwards, although if you need to lean forward for balance, that's fine. Getting to this good alignment position is progress. And what we're going to do is we're going to come up to standing, and we're going to do that really nice and slowly. So inhaling up, nice and slowly, keep slow, 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 slow. Let your heels drop down, bringing your hands up, looking up towards your hands, and perhaps bringing a little bit of a back bend in, hips come forwards, hands come as tall as you can possibly get them. Inhale, and then exhale, and bring your hands then to your side. Good. So we're now standing. Standing's a balance. Standing on 2 feet is balance. Babies can't do it. They learn to do this. So we're going to do a little bit of work on our balance here. So feet, I would suggest, are kind of hip width apart. Now, when I say this in classes, I get a lot of ladies doing this, and I'm like, hey, your hips are not that wide. Let's go hip width apart. Now, traditionally in yoga, the toes would be together and the hips and the heels slightly apart. But that's yoga as designed by and practiced for skinny Indian men. I'm neither skinny or male, so I am going to have my feet more about hip distance apart, and it gives us more stability as well. So let's just see how we feel here. Perhaps close the eyes and rock from side to side, forward to back. If your stability is not great, keep your eyes open. Circling round. Now, you may, if you know your balance is not great, pause this video and go and grab yourself a dining room chair or move so that you're somewhere where you can hold onto a wall. I would far rather that you use this prop to help you with your balance than that you were falling over, all right? Because you can have it there in case and not actually use it. I'd rather it was there and you were safe. So I'm going to come right to the back of my back so you can see me, hopefully without chopping my head off in the picture. So what we're going to do is make sure your feet are nice and parallel and pick all of your toes up and then drop them down one by one, and hopefully that's giving you a little bit more sort of stability on the foot. You see what I mean about practicing bare feet? You can really feel the mat under your feet. Okay, very easily, hopefully, we're going to come up onto our toes, maybe just halfway to begin with. And if that feels okay, come right up onto the tops of the toes and then drop down again. It's quite a good calf workout. Inhaling as we come up and exhaling as we come down. You may want to bring the hands into this if you're stable. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. This time we're going to stay up, so inhale up. Stretching nice and tall, shoulders away from ears. When I say that in class, everyone goes from this to this. Nice and tall, and down again. Good. So that was a balance on 2 feet. We're now going to shake it off a little bit and take it onto 1 foot. So choose which foot you want as your standing foot. So if you're going to mirror me, the standing foot is going to be the right foot, and you'll be picking your left foot up. So first of all, I'm just bending my knee and coming up onto my left toe, making sure that I'm nicely spread with my toes, nice and stable in the right foot. See how this feels. Use your hands and your arms to help stabilise you. I don't mind if you wobble, it's fine. And then just pick that foot up, bring the knee up, see how that feels, perhaps bringing it out to the side, circling round. Again, if you need to hold on to something, do so. So getting a little bit of a hip circle in here, and then the other way. Clunk go my hips. Good, dropping that down. So we'll just do that on the other side. So dropping your left foot down, making sure that those toes come up, drop down again, nice and wide, coming up onto the toe of your right foot, and then if it feels right for you, picking that knee up, go as high as you like here, and then you can start to circle this knee around in one direction and then the other. And you may be wobbling a little bit, that's fine, it's the body learning how to keep you balanced. And again, if you need to hold on to something, hopefully without pulling all the fairy lights down, you can do so. Good. Coming back down again with control. So you're probably feeling that a little bit in the hips. If you need to wriggle around, do so. We're going to come back to that in a moment. I just want to take a forward fold now. So I'm going to show you what we're going to do. And come to the sides actually. Feet hip width apart. Roll the shoulders back, just to make sure our posture's nice. The hands are going to slide down the legs, and we're going to come into a fold. So inhale, and then exhale, hinging down here, maybe having a slight micro bend in the knees, sliding down, and just see how far you get to. Now this is the first fold I've done today, so as you can probably see I'm several inches off the ground. That's fine, that's how it is at the beginning of the day. But as I hang and I relax and I breathe, all the soft tissue starts to relax and melt, and gradually my fingers start to go lower and lower and lower. Now you may still not be touching the floor, it's not a problem. Just let yourself hang and see how low you can go here. Like I say, absolutely fine to have the knees bent. In fact, for some lower back issues, it can be a good idea to have the knees slightly bent. And again, if this is really not good for your lower back, which is the case for some back issues, just don't do it, alright? Go back to, you could do some kind of cat-cow work like this in a standing pose, or go back to some of the toe raises we were doing. Inhaling and exhaling. So if you take your hands around your elbows, we're now in a pose called ragdoll. And you may want to swing from side to side. You may want to nod the head, shake the head, let it all roll, and then taking the hands down. We're going to do a couple of twists from here. So you take the left hand and put it on the floor, or if you've got a block on a block, or perhaps onto your shin. We're going to roll the right hand up the left arm and point the elbow up towards the ceiling and look up towards the elbow. Assuming your shoulders are okay with this, you can then take the right hand up and away. Now, the temptation will be for the opposite knee to come forwards. Try and keep those knees back together. Okay, dropping down. Now take the right hand down to the middle. Inhale, the left hand up the arm, point the elbow up and away, and then you can take the hand away as well. And then dropping down. Again, with those knees kept nice and static. What we'll do is we'll do another pair with the knees static. So up with the right and down, up with the left and down. And then we'll do some more dynamic. And this time I'm going to let you bend the opposite knees. So bring the left up and the right knee forwards, right hand up, left knee forwards. If you don't touch the ground, it's not a problem. And then hanging down here. So we're going to roll our way up, really nice and gently. So inhale our way up. Very, very slowly. Think about going one vertebrae at a time, keeping your chin tucked right up until the end. And bringing the head up, rolling the shoulders. Good. So, back to some balances. We're going to do tree now, classic yoga pose. So again, we'll start with the right foot as the one on the ground. And you've got some different variants here, different options, depending on whether you've done this before or how good your balance is. So at the very basic level, you've got your foot, your toe of the left foot on the floor and the heel kind of on the ankle of the right leg. All right? So you can just have that. It's quite challenging for some people. If you want to take it up a tad, you can put your foot around your calf. Now, the knee is going out towards the side. Our hips won't open to the degree that it's a proper right angle, but you're trying to get it out towards the side if you can. And that, to be honest, is probably enough. If you need to hold on to the wall, you can do so. And for a really established yogi, where you're going is you're getting the foot right into the kind of inner thigh, and you're going to be working on this. But that's not where we're going today. I'd suggest you keep it below the knee. What we don't want to do is come over the knee joint because it puts too much pressure on the knee. So have it above or below the knee and see how this feels. Now, with the hands, if you can let go of your support, you can take them to the side. You may want to just make a little circle between your finger and your thumb. This is called Hasta Mudra. It's just a little energy lock. You can have that out to the side. You can have that coming up and away. And you may have noticed as I came up, my shoulders roll back and down. And I'm mindful of the posture, the way that I'm holding my spine. And then we try and come out of this the way we came in, with control. So bring the hands down and then bring the knee forward and drop that foot to the ground. Shake it out a little, and then we'll do that on the other side. So your standing leg, you want to ground your feet down. By that I mean making that sort of the footprint you make on the mat as wide as possible. And then take up the right foot. So perhaps having that heel on the ankle or just below the knee. Again, that knee coming out to the side, so we're opening the hips up here. So when I first started teaching my husband yoga, his balance was really, really bad. So he practiced cleaning his teeth standing on one leg, and then practiced cleaning his teeth in tree pose. And I'll be waiting for the kettle to boil, and I'll go into a tree or a balance. The older we get, the more and more important it is for us to be working on our balance. It's very good for us. So perhaps taking that mudra, seeing how you go with this. If this is all a complete doddle for you, try moving your gaze either to the top of the room or down a little lower. And if you're managing to do that without falling over, then I suggest you try and close your eyes and see what happens then. Don't do that if you are new to this. Okay, bringing the hands down and coming back to a standing pose. So this posture that we're standing in now, I'm going to just work on a little, because whilst we're all quite used to standing, we think we can do it, we're actually in a yoga asana. So this is called Tadasana, or mountain pose. So let's just explore this a little. I'm going to come side on here. So my feet are a little apart. They could be a little bit further apart if you'd like. My tailbone is tucked under, so I'm not sticking my bottom back. I'm holding my belly in, so I'm engaging what we call our bandhas here. I'm going to roll my shoulders round and back, just to make sure that I've got that nice straight spine. The chin is tucked in, and the hands, fingers are pointing down, or the hands, the palms are open. And see how that feels. It's quite a strong pose, really. Inhale and exhale. You may want to close your eyes and just notice how you feel in Tadasana, mountain pose. And this is the first pose we take before we do the sun salutation sequence. We're not going to do a full sun salutation today. We're going to do a little half salutation. So we're going to take the hands to Namaste. It's a prayer in front of us. We're going to inhale, exhale, and then we're going to take the hands out. Inhaling a big circle up. Palms looking at each other. You can have them close together if you want. And then we'll go back the other way, swan dive ourselves down. So it's like this forward fold, but my hands are actually out to the side. So we've done one forward fold today already. And we'll come down, either fingertips towards the floor or as close as you can get. We'll inhale, the hands, the palms go up to your shins, and you look forward, and we're trying to get a nice flat back here, so an extended back pose here. We exhale, hopefully palms a little lower on the floor, perhaps knees bent. And then we're going to come up again, opening up, inhale, 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 into a little bit of a back bend, palms together, and then bring the hands down to heart centre as we exhale. So we're going to do that a few times, inhaling up, and exhale as we swan dive down, so hands out, hinging down, fingertips coming down to the ground. That's all on an exhale. Inhale to that flat back position, looking forward, shoulders relaxing back. Exhale a little lower, bending the knees a tad, perhaps bringing your mortal palms to the floor. Inhale, hands to the side, into your back bend. And exhale, hands to heart centre again. So we'll do that a few more times. Inhaling, circling up. Exhale, circling down. Swan diving down, fingertips down. Inhale to your flat back. Exhale, hands down. Inhale, up. Hands together. And to heart centre. Let's do one more. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale to the flat back. Shoulders away from ears. Exhale down. Inhale. Circling up. Exhale, hands to heart centre. Good. So you've now done a half sun salutation. It's a lovely little warm-up exercise. I quite like to do it after I've done a few other little warm-ups first. If you're doing more classes with me, we can go through full sun salutation and that kind of thing. Okay, so we're going to make our way down to a lunge position now. So I suggest if you've got something for under your knee, you pop it down there, dropping down, right knee on the floor, left foot forwards. So this is just a low lunge. Got quite a nice wide stance here. My feet are quite wide on the mat, so rather than all in a straight line where I'm not very stable, I'm trying to bring myself lots of nice stability. And again, if you need something to hold on to, grab hold of it. So let's just rock ourselves forwards and back. And I want you to check that you can see your toes at the front all the time. If you can't, you need to have that foot a little bit further forwards. So rocking forwards and back. If you've done yoga a fair amount before and you're pretty confident in this kind of thing, you can come up into a high lunge, but I'm just working on the low lunge with the beginners. Okay, so forwards and back, forwards and back. And let's come as far forwards as feels comfortable for us. So we should be feeling a nice stretch down the front of the right hip, the hip flexor. And let's inhale the hands up. Again, shoulders away from ears. You can either look forwards or you can look up at your hands. All right, and we're going to do a twist now. So the right hand is going to come over the left knee and the left hand is going to come around the back. We'll do it together. So we'll inhale and we exhale into that twist. Right hand over the left knee, left hand behind the back. Now can you see how I'm still nice and tall in my posture? I've not slumped forwards. I'm twisting in the spine. Good. Inhale back up and bringing the hands down. Lovely. So that's our lunge position. So good to stretch these hip flexors out. Let's come and switch around. So we have the left knee on the mat, the right foot forwards. And again, let's rock forwards and back, forwards and back. See how this feels. And then rocking a bit further forwards. Can you see your toes? Bringing the hands up on an inhale. Perhaps looking up at those hands, so you'll get a slight back bend as you do this, or looking straight forwards. And we're going to do that twist the other way, so the left hand is going to come over the right knee. So when you're ready, inhale, exhale into the twist. So I'm looking back over my right shoulder. It's one of the reasons those neck warm-ups were really important earlier. So we're twisting, we're stretching, we're also holding quite a power pose. Doing lots of things in this pose. Inhaling back up and exhale down. Good. So many more postures I could be teaching you, but what we're going to do now is we're just going to go to some gentle cool downs on the mat. So I'd like you to find yourself into a lying down position with your knees up. So I quite like to have something under my neck here. You could have a pillow, cushion, hands to either side, my feet kind of fairly close to my buttocks. And you can have your feet nice and wide on the mat or closer together, whatever feels comfortable for you. And we're just going to windscreen wiper from one side to the other. So you're keeping your feet on the floor, but the feet are sort of rolling over the mat. We're going to inhale as we come up, exhale as we go down. Inhale up, exhale down. Oh, so nice on the spine. Next time you're over onto the right, can I suggest that you stay there? Now, if this is not very comfortable and you kind of feel that you need to have a little bit of a support under your right knee, then pop a cushion or a block under your right knee. And then taking the left hand, you may want to look out over the left hand so it's the opposite direction of where your knees are pointing. Just to bring a little bit more stretch into this. Right, we're going to inhale back up to the centre and then let those knees come over to the left. And again, if you want to put a block under that left knee, do so. Take the right hand out and turn the head to look over the right hand. Good. So when we've had an equal amount of time here, inhale the knees back up. Bring the knees in towards the chest and hug the knees. Perhaps rock a little from one side to the other. Taking the left leg down. I want you to hug the right knee into yourself. I think the postman's just arrived. So we're going to exhale the knee in towards ourselves. Inhale it away. Exhale the knee in. Exhale away. And you may want to bring the knee in towards the arm, in towards the shoulder, or in towards the neck. And notice if it feels kind of tight in any of those areas. Perhaps hold it in there a little longer. Switch those legs around nice and gently, bringing the left knee in, hugging that in. So again, what we're going to do is we'll exhale as the knee comes in towards us, inhale as the knee comes away. And again, you can choose the different places that you want to bring this knee into. Towards the arm, towards the shoulder, more towards the neck. Good. Stretch out, nice long body stretch here. Oh, lovely. Bringing these knees back up again. I'm going to do a pose now called Happy Baby. So the idea is that you put your hands in between your knees and you're looking to grab either the big toe or the outside edge of your feet. Your knees are coming into your armpits and the soles of your feet are as if they're walking on the ceiling. It's not a very glamorous pose, but it's very nice for stretching out the back. And you can rock from side to side if you'd like, or you can just hold this. If this is a really difficult posture for you to get into, then you can use straps around the feet and holding onto the straps. Or you could just hold the backs of your legs here if you don't have the straps. But we're trying to get those feet so that they're parallel with the ceiling. Good. Dropping the feet down again. We're going to do another pose that's a nice final stretch. So stretching the feet out again and the hands up above the head. We're going to do the banana asana. So we'll walk our feet over towards the left and walk the hands over towards the left. So we're in a banana shape or a C shape. And once you've settled, let the soft tissue, the fascia, release a little. You may find that you can walk a little bit further. You may want to grab hold of the right wrist with the left hand. You may want to pick the right foot up and cross it over the left ankle. I don't personally like doing that. My back doesn't like that very much, so I'm not going to hold that pose. So just a demonstration there that, you know, if these poses don't work for you, you adapt and do the things that do work. Good. Release the hands and just walk the hands back to the centre and walk the feet back to the centre. Nice long body stretch again, and now walk the feet over to the other side, walk the hands over to the other side. So you've got that banana or C shape the other way. Again, if you want to hold onto the left wrist with the right hand, picking up the left foot and crossing that over the left ankle, they are all additional options for you. Coming back to the centre, nice and gently, taking another full body stretch. Again, if you want to hug the knees in, to just relieve the back a little bit, you might want to pick your head up and perhaps rock. You can do so. So we're coming towards the end of our class now, and we tend to finish a yoga class with a little bit more of the pranayama, the controlled breath work, and savasana. So savasana is that posture like this on the ground where we go into a deep relaxation. So I'm going to invite you to either stay lying where you are now. You may want to put something a little bit more comfortable under your head. Or if you would prefer to do some breath work sitting cross-legged, then I'm going to show you a way of getting up. So put your knees up, putting your hands onto your back and using that to get yourself up, or you can roll over onto your side. You want to do these things carefully rather than just rolling your way up and hurting yourself. So I'm going to spend the last bit of the class sitting, because I like to, in a normal class, be able to see my students. Obviously I can't see you now. So you can either be lying or still in a comfortable seated position. If you are seated and you've got various supports, you can pop bricks or blocks under your knees. So can you see that my knees are a little bit higher here, but they're really nicely supported. So it's your choice on that one. I think I'll just stay like this for now. So perhaps having the hand on the belly or on your knees, and you may want to take that chin mudra again, just that circle between the finger and the thumb. So let's centre ourselves, close the eyes, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose. Count your breath in. Notice that there's a little pause, and count the breath out. And if you've got a longer count out, that's really good. In fact, you might want to work on that. So count the breath in, little pause, count the breath out. Little pause. So let's do that in your own time. You may want to extend that pause. So inhale, have an extended pause. Exhale, extended pause. Now you can either choose to continue being mindful of your breath, counting, and using that as a way of being into a slightly more meditative state. Or you can just go deeper into yourself, perhaps scanning through your body and seeing where you're holding tension. Relaxing your feet, calves, knees, your thighs, the hips. Letting the spine sink into the mat, or if you're seated, just being mindful of the spine being in a good posture. Letting your shoulders relax and sink. Fingers, hands, forearms, elbows, upper arms, back to the shoulders, letting them relax. Going up to the neck and the chin, the jaw, relaxing it all. And as you move across your face with your consciousness, deliberately relax your eyes and your forehead. Taking your awareness to the top of your head and the back of your head, bring relaxation there. Of course, you're welcome to stay in this very meditative state if you would like. If you would like to just bring some more movement to your fingers and your toes, perhaps inhale and exhale a little bit deeper, moving your head from one side to the other, nice and gently. If you're lying, you can perhaps bring your knees in, give yourself a hug. If you're seated, you may want to just move the spine in and out, like that cat-cow pose we did. And if you're lying, can I invite you to come onto one side and in your own time find your way to a seated position. If you've still got your eyes closed, that's fine. Leave them closed. We are going to finish the class by taking the hands to heart center, to Namaste. So before we do anything else, I'm just going to explain the word Namaste. It simply means that the divine in me recognises the divine in you. So that's what we mean to say in English when we say Namaste. So we are going to inhale and take the hands out to the side, looking up at the hands and exhaling the hands back down to heart center. Inhaling again out to the sides, looking up, bringing the hands back down to heart center. Touch the eyebrow center, your forehead with your thumbs, and we will say Namaste together. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining my class today. I hope you found that really helpful. You're welcome to ask any questions in the threads on whatever platform you're watching this on. I'm Marie Page. My website is mariepageyoga.com, and I hope to see you again sometime. Thank you.